Hello, this is a Timothy Edward Samblick special of awkwardness and poorly done cutting and editing. Unless I left it all in there for your enjoyment. Or should I say torture. Have a nice day. And remember, if you actually enjoy this, I will put in, whatever it is I'm reading, I'll copy and paste it so you can, read it while I'm reading it. Or not. Yeah. Um, Yeah, I'm aware that this is going to be requiring a lot of editing probably, but I'll try to edit out anything that makes me seem human. I'll just edit out the long pauses that don't make any sense. You probably won't even notice them, or you'll totally notice them. It really depends. So, yeah, my screen's completely gone. The keyboard's gone. I'm literally looking at desktop right now, monitor to actually make sure the feed's working and there isn't too much lag. And I'll probably be doing that when I edit this. So, um, so I get extremely nervous when I do anything remotely public, even though no one's gonna see this. I'm going to read a paper I wrote, and you can form your own opinions on this paper I wrote. I read it previously. I think it's a reasonable paper. I apologize if the paragraphs are a little bit short. It was kind of an accident. Before you ask yourself what education is supposed to mean, whether to the students, parents, teachers, or random people who are affected by it, you need to ask what the point for all education is, why the first people were taught to read were, and why all the people after them were, what skills are taught in most schools that are considered the best, what about in the nations that have the best education, why do we undertake this cost and expense, this amount of time that we do, why have those before us done this? There are two groups that were taught to read during almost all points in history, even when kings and ordinary people didn't know how. The first group is the priest, who wanted to remember what their faiths said about life and the history of their faiths. They would use the holy books they had access to figure out what their faith would do during hard decisions they had to make for other less educated followers. Thus they are educated to pass down knowledge and to be educated leaders. There is another group that learned to read. However, its ranks changed many times during history. Sometimes it was the statesmen and political leaders of the area. Other times it was their trusted servants. Whether it was one or the other doesn't matter. They learned to pass down or act on political knowledge. Leaders need to know what others before them have tried and what other leaders were doing so they could react to what was going on around them. My point is that whoever is educated at any given time is the people who are normally in charge. The people who can read are in power, or very close to those are in power. In the modern first world, the people who go to school are the people who are meant to be in power. You may notice that pretty much everyone goes to school. That's because if you're reading this, you live in a democracy of some sort. Think about all the nations that withhold knowledge or education from their people. Are those people in power there? No. That's my point. You might be asking yourself how having the power to vote makes you like a priest or a scribe, or perhaps like a senator even. Well, think back to what I said about the reasons for their education. You might remember that when it was to make informed decisions as leaders. Well, you are in charge to a degree here. You need to make informed decisions with your ability to vote. Priests who don't know what their holy books really don't know what their faith believes, and are poor priests trying to lead other believers. Poor statesmen have lackluster educations. This, when put together, means that you're a citizen of whatever nation you choose to live in permanently. You're a poor voter if you're not educated well. You're a poor leader as well, a poor believer, whatever you believe in. You're religious or not does not matter. You need to be able to give a speech to yourself. You need to be able to win yourself over in order to truly believe anything. You need to be educated to deserve power. That means you need to be a smart mother or father as well. So the place of the parents is to be leaders, know what they're doing and to be wise. Parents are provided with knowledge in the education system, and they need to pass that down so their children will be good parents as well. A well-educated parent is less likely to have children who end up in jail, feeling unloved, or are poorly educated. The parents of the many nations in the so-called free world have a responsibility to produce only the best citizens, leaders, and parents. If a parent has a child is hurt emotionally or physically at school, they need to, or at least try to do something about that. If their child is not in a safe learning environment, they are not learning as well as they need to. If a teacher is making a student feel hurt or is trying to do something that will prevent this child from learning, parents should again try to do something. The child should be fed, clothed, and if possible, asked after school how school went. At the very least, if the child is hurt, the parents should try to be there and help. They should do as much as they can, even if they are busy. If they can't, they shouldn't have children. Teachers need to be as highly educated as they can, as well-rounded as they can be capable of being. They are going to be the method education comes from, so they need to be the essence of what education is. History teachers need to teach how to be good citizens and what mistakes not to make. English teachers are very similar in this way. A teacher who can write a paper about what he or she believes is a good citizen. Math and science teachers make sure that students can be effective workers and live fruitful lives from their labor. Teachers should strive to be practical and or good at opening the minds of those they teach. The thing I say about parents should also be to a degree applied to teachers, for they have power and responsibility over students. Students should feel safe in their classrooms, and they should be built up, not torn down. If a student has trouble learning, they should be helped. If a student causes problems for other students, the teacher should be able to find out what is wrong so they can help. Teachers are like parents that they can produce poor citizens, and if their students are taught wrong, they could end up in all kinds of terrible places. Teachers have a lot of power, and they should know how to use it. I have many more thoughts on what education is and can be, but I happily have answered the questions that need answered today with any hope I'll, in the future, be a good citizen, parent, or and teacher. I'll do anything and everything to be as highly educated as I can. This video is probably going to require a lot of editing because I don't know what happened, because I literally, like, presented in front of, like, 25 people and I was fine, and I'm presenting in front of, what, 0 people? Because no one fucking looks at my videos, and I can't make words. I should probably put this on Facebook so that, again, no one can see it. Maybe 2 people at most. Maybe my mom might pity me, but I seriously doubt it. Oh, I'm going to put up some poems right after this, so stay tuned. Or not, because you're probably going to see this after all those are already up there. Okay, never mind, whatever.